As we already know, in Latin, all verbs are divided into four main groups called conjugations. It's very easy to determine which conjugation a specific verb belongs to, because each group shows a specific ending in the infinitive. The infinitive is the second principal part, and it will always appear in the dictionary. We have already seen that the first conjugation always ends in are, such as with amo, amare, and the second conjugation ends in ere, with a long e, such as with moneo, monere. Today we will introduce the third conjugation, which also has an infinitive that ends in ere, similar to the second conjugation, but with a short e. The third conjugation includes both regular verbs and the so-called verbs in io. Here is one example of each. Mitto, mittere, misi, missum. Capio, capere, capi, captum. So, while in the second conjugation ere was long, in the third conjugation ere is short. This is very important. The consequence of this is that while the long thematic vowel e does not change throughout the second conjugation, once it becomes short, it is more likely to go through changes. To be more clear, look at the following chart, which compares verbs of the second, verbs of the third in o, and third in io. Also listen carefully to the pronunciation. Moneo, monere. Moneo, mones, monet, monemus, monetis, monent. Mitto, mittere. Mitto, mittis, mittit, mittimus, mittitis, mittunt. Capio, capere. Capio, capis, capit, capimus, capitis, capiunt. Let's mention some key points. First, for the normal third conjugation, the e disappears completely in the first person singular of the present tense, and then changes into an I in the second and third person singular and the first and second person plural. Then, in the third person plural, it changes into a u. However, in the case of the verbs in io, the I will stay for the entire conjugation, making the verb actually resemble the fourth conjugation. This can get very confusing, so the best advice is to just memorize the endings. There are many verbs in the third conjugation, both regular and in io. Let's memorize the most common. Be brave, as these are likely the hardest principal parts you will ever learn. Let's start with the regular verbs. Ago, agere, egi, actum. Duco, ducere, duxi, ductum. Dico, dicere, dixi, dictum. Gerro, gerrere, gessi, gestum. Scribo, scribere, scripsi, scriptum. Trao, traere, traxi, tractum. Vinco, vincere, vici, victum. Lego, legere, legi, lectum. Perdo, perdere, perdidi, perditum. Ludo, ludere, lusi, lusum. Huerto, huertere, huerti, versum. Intellego, intellegere, intellexi, intellectum. Emo, emere, emi, emptum. Curro, currere, cucuri, cursum. Frango, frangere, fregi, fractum. Quaero, quaerere, quaesivi, quaesitum. Disco, discere, didici. Now let's learn some of the third conjugation verbs ending in io. Capio, capere, capi, captum. Accipio, accipere, accepi, acceptum. Cupio, cupere, cupivi, cupitum. Facio, facere, feci, factum. fugio, fugere, fugi, fugiturum. Iacio, iacere, ieci, iactum. Pario, parere, peperi, partum. Rapio, rapere, rapui, raptum. Sapio, sapere, sapii. Quatio, quatere, quassi, quassum. Now, as unexpected as some of these principal parts sound, if you pay close attention, you may come up with many English derivatives coming from those very principal parts. For example, from tractum, you get attractive, tractor, extraction, and distract. Paying close attention to these will quickly build your vocabulary. Let's see these verbs in action. Domum quam primum revertere cupimus. De libertate multi scribunt. Bella gerunt multos annos. Numquam periculum sine periculo vincere possumus. Eximia forma puellarum oculos puerorum convertit. Let's check comprehension.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.